time in months, not about Zoe, asked how I was doing, said she was happy things were going well, then mentioned Cliff had been laid off and things were tight, asked if I could increase my support contribution even though Zoe was 18 and I was no longer legally required to pay. I said no. A week later Zoe called me. First real phone call in almost a year. She was crying. She said she missed me and she was sorry for being distant and she wanted to come see my new place. She said she'd been thinking a lot about how she treated me and she wanted to start over. I told her I was glad she called. Then I asked her something. I asked if she knew about my new house before she called, and the silence stretched long enough that I could hear her breathing change. She finally said, Elliot mentioned something about it, and she wanted to see it. The disappointment landed harder than anger, because for 30 seconds, I'd let myself believe she actually missed me. I told her we couldn't pretend the last year didn't happen, and she needed to think about why she stayed away when I lived in the apartment she called depressing. Her voice went sharp, saying I was being unfair, and she'd been busy with college. I asked what changed between last month when she wouldn't return my texts, and this week when she suddenly wanted to reconnect, told her we could talk when she was ready to be honest, and ended the call. 2 days later, Nadine texted asking to meet about Zoe, first direct contact in 8 months. We met at a diner off Route 9 and she looked different, circles under her eyes, neat clothes but not the designer stuff she used to wear. She explained Cliff's layoff came without severance, and their savings were almost gone, said my support payments ending left them in a difficult spot. She seemed to believe this was my problem. I said the support ended because Zoe turned 18 and that was the law. She left 20 minutes later. Saturday morning, Elliot showed up, Zoe's cousin on Nadine's side, always decent to me. He brought coffees and we sat on my deck steps. He told me the layoff story wasn't true. Cliff got fired for poor performance after missing quotas 3 quarters in a row, and Nadine had been working double shifts to cover their mortgage. He said he'd tried telling Zoe years ago I was a good father who got screwed in the divorce, but she wouldn't listen. He apologized for not speaking up louder, said watching my family treat me like garbage while he stayed quiet had been eating at him. 2 weeks later, Zoe called again, sounding calmer. She apologized and started talking about missing our fishing trips, careful not to mention my house or money. I recognized the strategy, same calculated tone Nadine used when she wanted something. The realization my daughter had learned to manipulate instead of being real made me sad more than angry. I told her I appreciated the call, but needed to go. Monday at work, Oren asked if my family was coming around now that I had money. He told me about his sister who only called when she needed bail money, and said setting boundaries was the hardest thing he ever did, but also the best. That Saturday, cleaning out my storage unit, I found cards Zoe made when she was little. Her 7-year-old handwriting said, "Best daddy ever," next to a crayon drawing of us holding fishing poles, a stick figure with a baseball cap, and a smaller one with pigtails holding my hand. I sat on the concrete floor with rain drumming on the metal roof reading every card, remembering the kid who loved me before she learned to measure people by bank accounts. Tuesday evening, Nadine called asking if I could help with Zoe's college expenses since I was doing so well. I asked if she remembered the Christmas Zoe called my gift embarrassing. She said Zoe was just being a dramatic teenager. I told her